Alright, this is going to be my second CF vlog, and this time it will be taking place in the hospital. Now, I originally wanted to do this before I got to the hospital, but unfortunately I could not, so I'm doing it now. I don't really have anything better to do, and I'm bored. This video is going to be a video about my struggles with this disease and how it's affected me personally. Now, I guess my earliest memory of it would go back to first grade, second grade, maybe even kindergarten. Not really much of that, because as far as kindergarten is concerned, I don't really remember that much from it. As far as the illness is concerned, I do remember like going to the doctor. You know, going to the doctor's office. Every once a month, like on a Wednesday. It's once a month on a Wednesday. You know, get my vital signs checked. Maybe do like a pulmonary function test, which is testing your lung strength or something. I'll explain it better on a future CF vlog video. And then there's also, I get some x-rays, maybe a CAT scan, and of course the blood test. Something that I still to this day dread. Yes, I do not like needles. I really don't. I have a low tolerance for pain. But not only that, but when it comes to needles, I'm a hard stick. Because I have small veins. And I also have what you may call rolling veins when your veins move. Like the doctor could be going in for the vein and then it moves, and that could be a really big problem. And it was, especially when I got like the Emma cream to try to numb the area so I could not deal with the pain so much. They said we had to stop doing that because it moved the veins or whatever, or made it harder to find, something like that. I wasn't happy about that. Now, I have an older sister that also has CF. I have two sisters. I have one that's older than me. She's 4 years older than me. She has CF and CFRD, which is CF, Cystic Fibrosis related diabetes. And then I have a sister that's 1 year younger than me that doesn't have any diseases. So I only have two other siblings. So there's only 3 of us. Now, the reason why I mention this is because I guess my earliest memory would be seeing her go to the hospital. Yeah. So, let's see. I don't remember exactly how old she was. I think I was in first grade when this happened. And I believe that the next year I went to the hospital. And I wasn't happy about it. I think I cried actually when I heard I had to go to the hospital the first time. Because I already knew what it entailed before seeing what my sister would do. Maybe not exactly what she would do, because I was able to visit her and see exactly what she would do day in and day out. But I found out when I got in there. Now, this happened like around summertime. I remember vividly telling my second grade teacher that I'm not going to be in school tomorrow because I'm going in the hospital. So I'm going to miss the last day of school. And I was upset about it because I knew they were going to do some fun stuff. You know, we were young kids. It's only second grade, so we're going to do some fun stuff. And I was going to miss out on that. That, and also the fact that I already missed the first day of school. So missing the last day of school too, I was like, and for what, to be in the hospital? My parents trying to make it more happily, I guess. It didn't really work that well. And he packed up my clothes and stuff as if I was like going on vacation. But I wasn't, and I knew I wasn't going on vacation. I knew I was going to the hospital. I kind of knew what I had to get, which was an IV, which is something I treat even more than a regular needle. Even to this day, I don't like IVs. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to do everything in my power to avoid getting one now. Because from my examination, I believe that getting the IV hurts more than getting a regular needle, or even getting the PICC line, which is what I was getting the IV for in the first place back in the day because I was young. I would get the IV, then they would play anesthesia. They'll give me anesthesia so I could get the PICC line. And they said they would do this until you were about teenagers, and then you stop doing that, and then you have to get the PICC line with you awake. Now, when I was young and I heard that, I did not like that idea, because then I thought about, well, that's gonna be horrific, because I already saw how the PICC line works. Well, it leaves a hole after you pull it out, after it's pulled out. So I was like, so I would see them making the hole for them to put it in. I'm not happy about that. I'm not. There's still a lot of stuff I probably shouldn't have. Yeah, getting the IV was pretty torturous. I do what I usually would do, scream and holler and all that. Besides the fact I was already hard stick, me not being happy about it and already anticipating the pain and all that made it worse because I tense up, making the sticks harder. And then on top of that, screaming and hollering, and sometimes they had to hold me down. That made it worse when they had to do it multiple times, and then finally I got it. I was kind of happy about it, but wasn't completely happy about it until after I stopped crying. So yeah, and then after like a day or two, I get the PICC line, and then I was able to leave the hospital in a day or two and finish my medication at home. Because then the home nurse would come in and handle that. And with the PICC line, the thing is, well, with the PICC line, you have to get your dressing changed every week. I wasn't looking forward to that either because it hurt. Because, well, actually before it didn't hurt that much. It didn't really hurt. I didn't have a problem with it. This was before they started using stitches. They just leave it there. I remember when they pulled it out. I tried, but it didn't really hurt though. It was just didn't like the idea of something being pulled out of me. Yeah, I guess I was just squeamish. I don't know. But it didn't really affect my schooling much, because this was during the summer, at least for second and third grade. This was like until fourth grade. This is where the problems really started to come in, because I was getting sick during the summer, which we've been happening since the second grade, and then by the time I'm in fourth grade, it starts to shift from me getting sick in the second grade. Me getting sick in the summer to me getting sick in the winter. And when I say winter, I mean January, February. Those were the worst times to be trying to get sick, especially in the grade I was in. And by the way, I am 19 years old and I live in New York. So at the time they were doing those New York State tests, and that was really a bad time to get sick. So I go in the hospital and deal with that ordeal or whatever. And I'm trying to go back into school, and they said I shouldn't because they're in the middle of testing. And this is where this is pretty much where the problem and my cycle of going in and out of school started. Yep. And this is also where I started doing homeschooling. Yep, this is where that cycle begins. Where I do maybe like, I guess, half a year, maybe even less than that, in school, and then the rest of it, in homeschooling, because I can't go back to school because it was like the worst time because we were doing tests and stuff. And this also affected my schooling because I was kind of being left behind and some stuff, so I had to also play catch up. I think I'm still having this problem now. It's ridiculous. This problem in 4th grade, I had this problem in 5th grade, I think I had this problem in 6th grade too. Another thing I need to mention before I go any further is weight. Now, there's something I have to take with my meals, and that is called Creon. What I'm taking, like before I was taking Creon 10, I was taking, 5 or 6 with meals, and 1 or 2 with snacks. Then it went up to 7, then it went up to 8. Maybe it went up to 9. And then I started taking Creon 20 and then Creon 24. Now I'm taking Creon 24, they're bigger. I take 5 with meals and 2 or 3 with snacks. Why do I have to take this? Because of CF. Now, as I mentioned before, it's also kind of like a pancreas disorder. Now, what I mean by that is the pancreas. The Creon is there are enzymes that the pancreas doesn't make, so it needs that to break down my food. And this is also contributing into another problem, which is maintaining weight. As you can see, I'm skinny. Right now, I'm like 100 and something, like 101 or whatever. Like before, I remember I was like in the 50s when I was younger. And I remember my doctor specifically telling me if I do not gain at least 80 pounds, she would put a feeding tube in me. And I was not happy about that. I was like, no, I do not want a feeding tube. So I worked my hardest to get to 80 pounds. I remember I was happy that I actually finally got to 60. And then 70. And then finally got to 80. I was like, yes! No feeding tube. Ha! Boom. After that, then I worked for my goal, which was to get to 100 pounds. Finally reached it. I think I jumped for joy. I was happy about it. I really was. And I've been trying to maintain that weight ever since, and even go higher. Another thing that they suggested that I get was a line called a port, which is kind of like a pick line, but it stays, instead of staying in there for months, you're staying there for years. I don't know that much about it, so I can't really go too much into detail about it, but I rejected it, and so did my parents. They asked me this when I was like 8 or 9. I was like, no, I don't want it. I don't want it. Now, I remember, I think I was 12, I was in 7th grade. I think 7th grade is the only year I remember when I went to school. We actually went to the hospital and then actually was able to go back to school. I think that was the only year that happened. Also, that was also the year where this incident started happening, where I would go in the hospital twice a year. Both winter and summer. Although that time, it was for a procedure for my nostril. It was, I don't know if I should call it, I don't really want to call it a surgery, more like a surgical procedure, I guess. It was to get rid of the polyps. So yeah, I had to get rid of that. For anyone that doesn't know, CFers also get polyps in their nose. Mine got really bad where they had to get rid of it immediately, I guess. They said they might have to do it again, but I was like, no, I'm not doing that again. I didn't like the way I felt after it. Because after that, I could not taste anything. My sense of taste was gone. Actually, the only thing I was able to taste was sugar. And I could barely speak. I remember I was playing Uno with my family when they came to visit me. I barely was able to say like Uno or number 1, because you know how an Uno game works, where when you get to the last card, or at least that's how our family does it, you get to the last card, if you don't say like last card or Uno before before a lot of time, they would just start throwing cards at you and you would get more cards. I put everything I could just to say Uno. And it sounded hilarious, because I could barely speak at that time. I never want to do that again. It's ridiculous. It really is. Now, let's see, what else did I have to do? Alright, let's see. I guess we got 8th grade. I didn't really go to the hospital when I was in 8th grade, so that was pretty fun. Although that year, like in 2006, I made a declaration that I would not go to the hospital anymore. Or at least I would try not to go to the hospital for at least 1 year. Because I was getting sick of it. Because as I said before, my older sister, she has both cystic fibrosis and CFRD, which is cystic fibrosis related diabetes. But she wasn't going to the hospital as much as I was. I don't know, maybe I was kind of jealous of her. I didn't want to be. So I said I'm not going to do it. And I almost succeeded. I almost succeeded until this situation happened. Now, when this situation happened, I had mixed feelings about it. This was the situation of me having hemoptysis, which means coughing up blood. Now, I knew about this before because my mother told me about this when I was like 10 or 11. And when my mother told me about this, I was terrified of it. Because after that, I've been pretty paranoid about it. Because I was like, she said, you know, if any blood comes off, you know, let her know. I was terrified of it because I was like, yeah, I know that's bad because blood's not supposed to be coming out of your mouth or any other places like that. That's not where it's supposed to come out. And when I was at a young age, and I understood that. So when it actually happened, I was terrified. Actually I had mixed feelings. I was scared and I was angry. Upset. I was scared because, you know, that fear kind of came true and it really happened. And I was upset because my whole trying to be out of the hospital for 1 year didn't work. And I was so close to it because it just happened this summer. And may I remind you, this was during my freshman year of high school. Way to start high school. Way to go. So I was pretty upset about it. When it happened, you know, they called an ambulance. I was on my way to school, didn't go to school. It was myself, my mother, and my younger sister. They were terrified. They called the ambulance. Took me to the local hospital. At the time, I was living in Far Rockaway, Queens, and Queens has some of the worst hospitals in New York. They have a lot of bad places in New York in general. But the hospital they took me to, the local hospital, is pretty bad. It was probably one of the worst hospitals, or maybe the worst hospital in New York. I guess it's debatable. But yeah, they gave me an IV, they gave me a few treatments, but the hemoptysis, you know, it kept happening. They called the CF place, but it took them a long time to come because, you know, they had to do a transfer. I came in there like 9 or 10 in the morning. The CF people didn't, LIJ, that's the hospital I'm following up with. You may have heard of it, Long Island Jewish. You know, North Shore Long Island Jewish. They didn't come until like 4 p.m. I came in at 9, 10 a.m. They didn't come until 4 p.m. And that was the only time where I felt I might not actually make it. I think that was the only time I actually felt that way in any of my life, especially when it comes to dealing with this illness. Because the people in that hospital I was in did not know what they were doing. They didn't know anything about CF. They were even asking my mother, what do we do? So she's panicking, everybody's panicking, and on top of that, you also have the CF people. I guess what took them a long time, because first they had to find out what the situation was, then they had to get a bed, get a room. And of course, you know, the hospital's a distance. It's like an hour long. But, you know, trying to get all the information and all the chaos going on, that took a long time. So by the time they actually get there, I was like, I'm saved! So they transferred me into the ambulance. By the time I got to the hospital, I was actually already feeling better because they gave me oxygen while I was in there. I think the only thing that the hospital I was in, I think it was St. John or St. Joseph or something, I forgot what it was called. I think the only thing they did well was the IV. Now that still hurted, but after a while I was dealing with it, I didn't even care. I just took the pain. I was like, just do it. Actually, I think, oh yeah, I remember my father actually came from work, and he works in the city. He came all the way from the city back. Or did he get that far? But anyway, yeah, he came back. I was like, he didn't see any of the incidents where it happened. Now with the hemolysis happening, that time in particular was probably the worst time it happened. Now, has the hemolysis situation happened since then? Yes, it has. But not as bad. And I plan to keep it that way. But since then, I noticed that my doctors have been more critical about my illness situation, and nowadays, if I have an infection, they want to, they want to handle it right away, because that's part of the reason why it happened. Because around the time it happened, I already had an infection. I was pretty sick. I was coughing a lot. I was coughing pretty hard. There was a lot of mucus coming out. It was very thick. So I probably needed medication in general anyway. Anyway, after that happened, I don't know if I could say I went into a depression, but I was upset. Because my whole goal of not going to the hospital failed, and I was so close to achieving my goal. Because all I was asking was just 1 year not being in the hospital, and it didn't work. I was upset after that. I really was. I was pretty torn up about it. I eventually got over it, because I was just thinking, well, why does this keep happening to me? I wasn't asking this for it to happen to my older sister. I don't want her to deal with it. But still, I don't enjoy this. So I was very conflicted in my feelings. And I talked to her about it, and I started asking, well, is there anything else wrong with me, or is it just simply have a more severe case? And I guess I just simply have a more severe case. So eventually I just dealt with it. I got over it, I suppose. Also, just as far as going to the hospital multiple times a year, that was like on and off. The next 2 years, it was like in 08, I had that issue. At that time, I also made a vow that I stopped having a PICC line. I just go into the hospital and take the IV. Do the 2 weeks in the hospital, and go home. First time I did it, did 1 week. I had a relapse and kind of had to go back. 3 months later, and then I did 2 weeks, and then 3 weeks after that, I had another thing. So it's like pretty much like in a 3-month span, I went to the hospital 3 times. The third time wasn't my choice though, and I actually rejected this. The third time was actually for a procedure, for a bronchoscopy. Now I remember specifically my doctor asking me whether I wanted to do it or not, and I said no. And then I remember like a week later, the doctor calling, he's leaving a message on the phone saying that the thing was scheduled on Friday. I was like, what? But I said I didn't want to do it, and you're doing it anyway? I felt like my mother had something to do with it, but still. I was like, but you asked whether I wanted to do it or not. If you were just going to do it regardless, then why you even ask me in the first place? So I thought it was kind of funny, but at the same time I was annoyed by it. And the procedure itself was alright. They put a mask on me so I didn't have to use any sticking. But it was after the fact, after the procedure, where things kind of went haywire, I guess you could say. I was drowsy when I woke up from the anesthesia. I was still recovering from it. I found out that I find that I have an IV. Okay, I'm looking at both my arms to see one is one has a band-aid on it and one has an IV. I said, okay, this is where these stuff can fail, and this one is where they succeeded. And I wake up to a sore throat, and it's sort of an itchy throat where I'm coughing a lot, and I can't stop coughing. And I'm still trying to get my sight, whatever, still recovering from the anesthesia. So by the time I finally heal, I was like, okay, let's go home, because the thing was, it was supposed to be an in and out situation. It was supposed to be an in and out procedure. I was supposed to go there, get it done, maybe an hour at the most, and then go home. That was the plan, but it didn't go as planned. First off, for what I heard, it took longer. The procedure wound up taking longer than intended. The doctor that I had at the time did it himself. Because not only was he like putting a camera to see like the problem with my lungs, but he was also cleaning and extracting mucus out of the lung. And my mother said he was bringing bags of mucus. So it's like, oh. So you could say I had a lot of mucus in me, a lot of infections. So I started thinking that, maybe this is the reason why I'm always sick. Because it could be infection on top of infection. But yeah, it took longer than it needed to, and then on top of that, they said I couldn't leave because I guess my sat was low. So after I recovered from being in the recovery room, they took me to the ICU, and I had to stay there for the night, and actually for a whole day. The biggest problem I had was that I was in my underwears. I forgot why my other clothes got taken off, but I was left in my underwears, and I'm in the room with like 3 other patients, like 3 or 4 other patients, and their loved ones or whatever. And I'm just sitting there hearing this thing beep all day, and it's kind of driving me crazy. I'm seeing the sat being low. I'm trying to feel I gotta get higher so I can get out of here. Remember, this is on a Friday, so I'm pretty much stuck here for the weekend. Because they were saying I might have to be there for a while. I was like, no, I want to get out of here now. So by the time I actually finally got out of there, by the time I actually got out of the ICU, I was at a good level. I was able to get moved to another room. My parents were a bit skeptical whether I should come home so soon, and they said maybe I should just stay there for another day or 2. I was like, no. So after I stood the night in that room, I was able to go home that next day. After that procedure, they said, again, this is another procedure, but they said they might have to do it again. I was like, no, I'm not doing that again. After that, I was like, well, actually, I realized I did start taking my stuff more seriously, like taking my treatments and medication on time, because I was a bit inconsistent as far as taking that stuff, like either taking it on time or taking it at all. After that, I was very serious about it, because I was like, I'm not doing that again. I do not want to do that again. I don't like the way I felt, and I don't like I just didn't like it. So I've been more consistent with it. Then I kind of fell into maybe another little depression, because as I said, there was a time I did not want to get the PICC line. Then finally they said I had to get the PICC line. I was like, forget it. I was like, I'm done. I don't care anymore. This was around the time when I found out about the CF walks. So going to those things actually helped me deal with it. I also found out about the CF Facebook page, where I was able to find out about other CFers and make friends with them. That also helped me a bit. First, I was a bit reluctant in doing that, because I was like, I don't feel like talking to anybody. So I guess you could say I'm a bit touchy when it comes to talking about the situation, because I really don't like talking about it. But yeah, I decided to do it. Eventually, I made some friends. But yeah, it's been a hard situation dealing with this illness. I know some people deal with worst case scenarios. This is personally what I had to deal with. Yeah, it's a pretty hard disease to deal with. Also, well, to top things off, as you know, I'm in the hospital right now. A recent situation happened. Now, as I said, I'm getting the pick line now because this is what I prefer getting instead of an IV. Now, the plan was I was going to go to the hospital, get the pick line first, and then get admitted. Now, the plan was going fine. I got the pick line. The procedure was done fine. And it was done well. It was successful. I woke out and I started getting dizzy. I was like, what happened? What's happening to me? I tried to walk outside, I couldn't. I need to sit down. And this is where I wish I was like, oh, can they just take me to my room so I can lay in a bed or something? I was even sitting there thinking, do I have anesthesia right now? Because my mother asked them if they could give me light anesthesia because the last few times before this I started to get the pick line, just getting the pick line without the IV. It's been fine, but there was just one case where it didn't go too well. But then again, the person who did it wasn't really experienced. I think she was like new or something, and she did it on, I guess, my bad arm, which would be my left arm. My more successful arm to put the pick line in would be my right arm, not my left. When she tried the left, and then she tried the right, which was an arm's spots. And more people had to come in and help out. By the time they was finished, I was crying. Yeah, I actually cried. I was like 17 or 18 when this happened. I cried. That was not during it, but after the fact, because I was in pain. I couldn't hold it anymore. I tried. I did my best. I told her I have a low tolerance for pain. I can only take so much. So yeah, my mother asked them for maybe they could give me like a little bit of anesthesia. I was thinking, do I need it? And then I started thinking, wait, did they have to give me the anesthesia? Because that's what I was feeling like. To describe what I was feeling like, I was really dizzy. I guess you could say I was lightheaded. Well, I kind of felt like, for anyone that's actually played the Uncharted game, you know how the main character, right before he is defeated, you know how everything kind of goes like black and white, goes like black and white, whatever. Yeah, that's kind of how I felt that day. And that day was like 2 days ago. No, actually it was yesterday. No, actually it would be 2 days ago now. Yeah. Yeah, that's something. I'm alright now. Some crazy crap. I think there was more that I wanted to say, but I'll probably say it in a future video. So I'm going to do more of these here vlogs every now and again. If you have any questions, let me know. I know this is a much longer video. This is probably the longest video I've done so far. But I just had to say this. This is something I just had to get off my chest. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions about the illness, whatever, or anything, let me know. I'm out. Have a nice day.